A full-size luxury MPV that seats 7 and weighs over 2.7 tons, and it hits more than 90% of its official range figure in real-world commuting. That number should embarrass a lot of European brands. Let me set the stage, because I know a lot of you watching this have never heard of the Zeekr 009, and that's a shame. This is a full-size, 6 to 7-seat electric MPV built by Zeekr, which is Geely's premium EV sub-brand. And the refreshed version that landed this year gets a larger battery pack, a revised front fascia, and an upgraded interior that honestly makes the old Mercedes V-Class look like it's from a different decade in terms of tech. The official CLTC range figure for the top-spec facelift sits at around 822 kilometers. Now, I want to be upfront here. I've been burned before trusting CLTC numbers. I predicted the previous 009 would hit 80% of its rated range in mixed real-world use, and it landed closer to 75%. So going into this test, I was genuinely skeptical. I think the CLTC cycle is optimistic by design. It's a gentler test than the European WLTP standard, and on a heavy MPV like this, aero drag and mass work against you hard the moment you get above 100 kilometers per hour. The test format here is what the Chinese EV community calls a true electricity test, which means you start from 100% charge, drive a fixed repeatable route that mirrors a realistic daily commute, and you do it 5 consecutive days without a top-up until the battery is genuinely depleted. No cherry-picking weather days, no hypermiling, no coasting downhill tricks. The route mixes urban stop-start traffic, suburban arterial roads, and some higher-speed expressway sections. Basically the kind of mixed driving a Shanghai or Hangzhou family would actually do on a school run and office commute combined. Ambient temperatures were in the mild range. Think 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, which I'd call best case but not unrealistic for spring or autumn. I'd argue this is actually fairer than a lot of Western range tests I've seen, which tend to cherry-pick either a pure highway blast or a pure city loop. Real life is mixed, and this test respects that. The climate system was running, passengers were simulated with added weight, and the driving style was described as normal, not aggressive, not hypermiling. So here's where it gets interesting. Across the full 5-day simulated commute, the Zeekr 009 facelift achieved a range attainment rate of somewhere north of 90% against its CLTC figure. I'm being slightly careful here because the source video tantalizingly blanks out the exact final percentage in its title, Classic Billy Hook, but the data points that do come through consistently place real-world usable range well above what I expected from a vehicle this size and weight. For context, the BMW 9, which is a similarly premium, similarly heavy electric SUV, typically lands at around 75 to 80% of its WLTP figure in independent European tests. WLTP is already more conservative than CLTC, so you can't do a straight comparison. But even accounting for that gap, a 90% plus attainment rate on a 2.7-ton MPV is genuinely strong. I think what's doing the heavy lifting here is the heat pump system and the efficiency of the rear-mounted dual-motor setup at lower urban speeds. The 009 isn't trying to be sporty. It's tuned for smooth, consistent power delivery, and that pays dividends in a commute scenario. Where I'd expect it to fall apart is a sustained 130 kilometers per hour motorway run in winter. That's the test I want to see next. Here's my honest take. The Zeekr 009 facelift is doing something that almost no Western luxury MPV can currently match. It's combining genuine long-range electric capability with a premium interior in a body style that families and business users actually want. The Toyota Alphard is the cultural benchmark in this segment across Asia, and it doesn't even offer a fully electric version yet. The Mercedes EQV exists, but it's slower, shorter-ranged, and significantly more expensive for what you get. If you're in a market where the 009 is sold, right now that's mainly China, with some European availability through Zeekr's expanding network, and you regularly carry 5 or more people, I'd argue this is the most rational premium electric purchase you can make. The range anxiety argument evaporates when you're hitting 90% of CLTC in mixed real-world use. My one genuine hesitation is long-term software support and resale value. Zeekr is young. The brand is still building its service network outside China, and I don't know yet how these cars age. That's not a deal breaker, but it's a real question I can't answer today. What I can say is that this range test result moves the 009 from impressive for a Chinese brand to just plain impressive, full stop. Drop a comment below. Would you trust a Chinese MPV over a German or Japanese alternative for your family? And what would it take to convince you? I read every single one. If this test surprised you as much as it surprised me, hit subscribe. I've got a winter cold weather efficiency test coming that will tell us whether these numbers hold up when the temperature drops. And seriously, tell me in the comments, German, Japanese, or Chinese MPV? What's your pick and why?